This episode includes personal conversation around health struggles, infertility, addiction, depression, and recovery. Please listen with care and take what feels supportive for you. Hi, I'm Jen. I am the owner of Soulful Existence and the host of Fate 40 and Beyond, the podcast where we start with a tarot card reading and just see what kind of topics come up and converse with friends. The friend that I have brought on today is Candace. Candace, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, a little intro?
Absolutely. For starters, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. I think we're kind of all on the same page of this, Fate 40 and beyond things because it's been an adventure. But so I I'm here in Atlanta and I have a wonderful husband and a blonde wombat of a 4-year-old little girl. Um, she is either aging me in dog years or keeping me young. I'm not sure. Especially, we have a pet deer in the backyard now, so whatever. So professionally, I am a holistic nutritionist and kinesiologist. So my days are not like anybody else's, and I just get to help people in the healthiest way possible.
Yes, and then that's how we met. And I immediately just fell in love with you. You're so awesome. You're just so laid back. And your approach is, okay, let's tackle this, not you're doing this wrong. You have such a let me walk and guide you type of approach in what you do.
Well,
And
that's the practitioner I would like to have. So that's kind of how I use that as a just parameters and how I do my business.
yeah, but it works. I love it. Yeah, so I think you said you're here in the Metro Atlanta area and you don't do anything online, do you? You don't
No,
do
I've tried that before, and honestly, I just didn't get the best results because
sure.
from a kinesiological standpoint, I need to touch the muscles.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of
I
important.
can give advice and tell you what to eat, but from a testing standpoint, it didn't go well.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful you're here. There are certain people that, when I was starting up this podcast, really wanted to invite them on. And I would say you are one of them. I think you have a lot of insight to offer.
I
And
jumped on it. I was like, "Me."
I loved it. I love it. There's a lot of people that I think want to be on here to like voice their opinion on certain things, and that's not quite what this is, but I do want insight from other women who are, like you said, we're all going through this stage of like 40 plus and life
Is it a hot flash
changes.
or a heart attack? Who knows?
I'm like, am I 15 again or am I 45? Because this is nuts. It's like really crazy. It's crazy, crazy. All right, let me see what starts to come up here. The first two cards are cups. Let's see. Are you familiar? Like, do you read tarot yourself?
I don't myself. I leave that to the professionals.
Okay. But you are familiar with tarot in general.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Three of the first five cards are cups, which cups signify emotions and the core of who we are internally, I would say. And then the other two cards are both. Oh, no, no, no. Okay. I was reading that wrong. Where's my other light? Hold on. There we go. The other two cards, one is a pentacles and the other is a sword. So I thought they were both pentacles. I was like, wow, we're talking business quick. But no. The cards, let's see. I do feel like there's this feeling of being, I don't say emotionally stable, but emotionally content. Like there's just, it just feels steady. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of unruliness.
The turmoil days are over.
Right. Like
Generally.
it feels grounded. It feels rooted. There's, I would say, more so of like making, I don't want to say, how is that? How is that coming up? Let's see. It feels like forward movement in a way of like we have a goal. And this is coming up more as like you and your husband. Like we
Right.
have goals, we have where we want to be. And it's not so much that it's rockiness, but more so the way that it's coming up is like um a big huge, I don't want to say cruise ship, but like a big huge ship that's just like plowing ahead, just moving ahead. And it feels very certain and like direct, like it has a specific goal. And I think, like you said, the craziness of like early relationship or early parenting, it's kind of calm down a little. And it's
But we still don't know what we're doing, but it's a little calmed down.
well, that goes for all of us for sure. But, it feels like it's very direct in where it's going, and I love that feeling because it doesn't feel like I keep getting this image of a boat, and it doesn't feel like it's wavering much, it just feels like it's moving forward in a very strong sense. The 5 of Pentacles, now you're talking about, like, business opportunity coming up. 5s typically indicate the opportunity for change. I always like to look at it that way. It doesn't mean that things are gonna change and be crazy. It just feels like there's the opportunity to move outside of what the normal standard operating procedure is. And with pentacles, it's usually like our resources. So money, food, like how you're acquiring that stuff or how you're utilizing that. How long have you been doing what you're doing now?
14 years.
14 years. So you're already established. Let me see what's coming up. Because it feels very adjacent to that. It just feels like it feels like a like a oh gosh, how is that? My words are not coming to me today.
If I have a word, can I say it?
Sure, because what I'm coming up with is just like a new perspective, a new way of looking at how business is done. But
Well, and that's why I use the word expansion.
okay, yeah.
Like, I'm not rewriting the book.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That fits what I'm feeling. Let's see. And it does feel it feels like it's gonna be profitable. Is it is it pairing up with someone new in business?
Slightly, yes.
Okay. I would say go ahead with that
We've been together a while, but
but
we're
yeah,
joining monetary forces.
okay. It feels like making sure all the fine print is really kinda combed through first. If it's someone that helps, but it does feel like maybe, mm, it just feels like they're slightly on a different playing field than you. Like, it just feels like it's, maybe not completely 100% aligned in the direction, just making sure all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. I know it just feels like the energy I don't wanna say stuck. It just also, I just woke up a little bit ago.
Oh, I've yet to have coffee, so I get it.
I'm like, my non-caffeinated tea, and I'm like, "What am I doing?" We went out to eat last night. It was after Kyle's gig, and he wanted IHOP, and I was like, "Okay." I've been trying to get him back to, like, let's just eat at home so we know what we're putting in our bodies again, and he just wanted pancakes. So I had, like, a burrito with eggs and sausage and stuff in it. And I woke up at 6 a.m. this morning feeling like I wanted to just bleh. And I don't ever get sick, but now I have, like, ginger tea,
Right.
so I'm, like, sipping on my tea, and I just need caffeine, and I know that won't be helpful right now.
Do you feel like straying off of carnivore really upset your stomach that way?
Yeah, 100%. It's crazy, and I'm wanting to explore a more relaxed version of carnivore, maybe more on the keto side, but I definitely know that seed oils I can't do,
Mm-mm.
and, I mean,
I
that,
couldn't
like,
either.
really inflames my body. Carbs, like, in bread or potato form are not good for me at all. I'm definitely a high protein
I can
bo
feel it in my joints when I have seed oils.
yeah. Oh, 100%.
I'm like, "No." Oh, sorry, Coffee Mates 50% off? Too bad. Go buy the $7 creamer because it's better to not
Yeah,
feel like
for sure. Okay, let's see if I can wake up and get this energy flowing, and then my ears keep getting plugged, like, I won't say full-on ear infections again, but they're just plugged, and I like my body is just screaming at me of like, "Come on, let's get back on track,"
right.
and it's frustrating because mentally it's, it's 100% addiction again. I would say much, much harder than weaning myself off alcohol is weaning myself off of sugar and carbs. It's
That's,
crazy.
so Stacy, that's,
Yeah.
this is how we met. So she, tells the story of that, she gave up alcohol and gave up smoking after, 30 years. And it
Yeah.
was, well, it was hard. It wasn't, physically damaging on her body. She's like, when I gave up sugar, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah. It's mentally, it's so much harder for me. Physically, last time I went sugar-free did not affect me physically as much as I thought it would, but it's just it's like my brain just sees it as though as, like, dopamine, and I just want it, and so it's frustrating, and I know I can overcome it at some point. I'm just, like, slowly getting there.
This is slightly off the topic, but if you ever want to come over, I got my start in acupuncture. I've got ear
Oh,
staples
wow.
and everything else, and we'll put them in your ears,
Yeah,
and it's for cravings, and
yeah.
it creates that endorphin rush whenever you need something. You just squeeze them. Great for weight loss too, but yeah,
Okay.
you're always welcome to come to the house. I've got
Yeah,
ear
I'll have
cleans.
to keep that in mind. You're just so like, you're not that far away from me, but it's farther outside of my comfort zone,
Oh, I
and
have
then
multiple.
yeah, like, I'm happy with my little 10-mile radius. Anything outside of that is, like, too far.
If I have to really love you to use my turn signal more than like 5 times to get there.
That's so funny.
And then having it.
Okay, let's get back to the reading, because it feels like, mm, it just wants to reiterate how how good things are going, because it does feel like financially or, like, resources are steadily, like, coming in, or I would say just, like I don't wanna say coming in either, but it just feels like this reserve is just there. What they're showing me is did you ever watch DuckTales as a kid?
Yeah, it's woo.
Yeah, and Uncle Scrooge had that, like, big, huge vault, and they would dive into it.
Slide down the dog. Yeah.
Yeah. But what they're showing me is just, like, this reserve that just is kinda there, like, your resources are just kinda steady. It's not like it's going, drastically down or overflowing, it's just steady, and I like, it feels calm. The emotions feel calm. I do think there's maybe, like, some new, mm, it feels almost like having to get your brain wrapped around new concepts,
Oh, yeah. I
or
know
new
what you
ways of looking at things. What do you think that's about?
new ways of looking at things. I don't do change. I don't like change. I don't embrace change. Like I said, I made it through the pandemic without a single Zoom call.
Yeah.
Um, but I think, how would I put this? Um, I'm very stubborn with major control issues. So as we're moving through this parenting journey, and I'm the old school 80s baby.
Yeah.
So these new kids and these new parents don't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know. I think maybe that's probably a personal issue where I'm having to learn to change. I'm having to learn to be patient. I'm having to learn to default to a partner instead of just
Like
being the line leader all times.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
And you had she's your only child, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah. So you had her a little later in life. Like, I had
Um,
mine very early in life. My oldest, I had when I was 18. I was done by 23. So
we started at 41 and 45.
right. It's a big difference. And, I think there's from my perspective as having gone through all that as a young mom, I didn't know how to how do I say this? I carried on what my parents taught me through raising me, only because I didn't know any better. I didn't
Right.
have, like, the emotional maturity to consider other options, and I think at a later age, with having kids, like, you have that perspective of my way of doing things is not always the best.
That's not where I shine, but
Right. And but I think there's a lot to be said there, and I can even see in my kids who are slightly older than when I had them, they are able to hold their boundaries a little bit more, especially with their parents. They've done a really good job of, "This is the way we're raising our kids, and if you have a problem with that, too bad."
right.
But it's a much more grounded approach, not just carrying on what they were raised with, which I can appreciate because I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue. I'm still trying to figure out how to run a household, or what I wanted to be when I grew up. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. And so having that perspective as a parent now for you, I think even if you need to change the way you do things or wrap your head around it a little bit differently, it's still a positive and you're still, like
Oh,
even if you you're still doing
yeah.
a good job at it.
And that's what, to keep the tiny humans alive. That's just kind of the rule. So I'm pleased with what we were given and what we got so far. So
Well,
but
that's
about
good. Are you eating broccoli with ranch? Oh, it looks so good right now.
so my family lives in the random foothills of Tennessee.
Oh,
And they know that if they don't show up with this super crazy delicious ranch that like somebody's grandma makes at the gas station,
yeah.
like they're not allowed to come in the door. And
That looks
so
really good.
it's my favorite snack of all time is broccoli and ranch. So
Well,
I could
and it's
do I could
probably
do worse.
like oh, yeah, for sure. That ranch looks like it's homemade
It
in a
is
big tub. Like, it looks like the really good stuff. Now I'm jealous.
clean my trips around when they're open.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I see, and that's the stuff I need to get back to is like the little snacks that they make a difference in what you decide to eat. Like the other day I wanted hot Cheetos and I hadn't had hot Cheetos in years. I got some like by DoorDash sent to my house, which was so stupid because I could have just thought,
That's
no,
what
I'll get
caused the line was the
yeah,
DoorDash.
like that was stupid. I paid 3 times as much for the little bag.
Okay, that made my day. Um, yeah, I don't have a patient that I don't eat in front of. Like I think that they're just. I was like, if this is wildly unprofessional, I really don't care. Um,
I I recently started seeing a therapist, and we do online appointments, and I'll see her every now and then, like, sneak in a little bite. And I'm like, "Look, it's my lunchtime too. How about we just have lunch together and chat? Like, can we make
I
this
don't know
a
if you
little
can see
easier?"
the bit behind me, but there's my fork. There's the chicken.
Well, I think that also, like
If y'all need me clear, I need to be fed.
no, I totally agree with that. But, also, I think there's just a certain point where like, I know in my early 20s, even 30s, I probably would have adhered to more what you're supposed to do type etiquette rules, especially for like a podcast or something. But you get to a certain point, you're like, I don't really care anymore. Yeah.
Well, that's half of what this podcast is about. Is
Yes,
that we just just
we're just doing our thing now. And I was like, the episode I released last week, she goes, I'm not going through a midlife crisis. I'm just turning feral. And I'm like, that's it. Like that I cannot describe that any better. It's not a midlife crisis. It's not a crisis at all. We're just showing up better now.
I mean, I'm charter member of the We Do Not Care Club. I
Yeah. I've heard of that on TikTok, and I think, like, I've been weaning myself off TikTok more. I didn't get too far down that rabbit hole, but I have heard of it. There's definitely a large portion of us who qualify, that's for sure. There's a lot of cups coming up in your reading. I just keep looking at the cards, and I'm like, there's still more and more and more. I do see we have the Emperor, which the Emperor is typically like, very grounded energy, very I would say ambitious energy, goal setting and goal achieving type of energy is what's coming up with that. What made you get into the work that you do? Like, how did you decide on that route? If I'm assuming people who have, like, healer type energy always know that they wanna heal people in some capacity.
so I was a high school history teacher
Oh, wow.
and I got very, very sick and I had my first stroke at 24.
No way.
And what I do, because I mean, I was just the cocktail. Um, I still smoked. I was in a bad marriage, didn't realize it. I was on antidepressants, been a diabetic since I was 12. I was on insulin. I was
Mhm.
212 pounds. You've met me. You
You're
can see
tiny.
the top of my head. I'm all of 4 feet, 10 inches
Yeah.
tall. So I was very spherical. I was on birth control, which made no sense because he was in Iraq. But And I was just a cocktail, and I had a stroke.
Wow.
So this what I do is what put Humpty Dumpty back together again.
Yeah.
So when I moved to Georgia on a whim, I thought this place is cute, I'll stay. And there was a hiring freeze for teachers. So I was like, all right, Lord, I'm listening.
Yeah.
So I found a lady in Buckhead who would let me apprentice with her, and she taught me everything I know. And then 3 years of clinicals in Tampa.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. But yeah, no, what made me do what I do is I got very, very sick.
I think a lot of people reach that breaking point and kind of don't really know. Either they ignore it and just keep going down that route,
Well,
or,
or that too.
that's an option. It's just not the option I would choose. Or they seek out answers and it becomes like a passion, like a real drive for decisions later on in life.
Well, and I feel like it's still in alignment with what I had chosen. I knew from the moment I saw Dead Poet Society, I wanted to be a teacher,
Mm,
right? I wanted to be that person.
yeah.
And so my spiritual gift is teaching. So I'm still teaching. I'm just not in a classroom.
Right. 100%. Yeah. And you have a real, like I said before, like you have a real gentle way of leading people into discovering what they need, what would be better for them. Let's put it that way. Cause you don't ever tell. You just, the way that I experience my appointments with you is like, well, this is going to help you. Do you want to do this or not? You don't have to force anyone. But also, I think being in such a
I got
niche.
scolded for tough love before, so I had to back off.
I mean, tough love is
Because
not a bad thing.
I'm like, life's tough. Get a helmet. Let's go.
Yeah.
But not everybody needs that.
Yeah, not everyone responds that way, and that's okay. But I do think that you have a very well-rounded approach in how you share what's your findings in appointments. There's let's see.
Findings is such a good word.
Because it does feel like research. It doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel diagnostic in the sense of like a regular doctor's appointment or, but it does feel like a investigative. And I love
Your
kinesiology.
body tells me a story. Yeah.
What's that?
Your body tells me the story. I don't have to do anything.
Well, yeah, but like as someone who's coming in unfamiliar with how to do that on my own, it's nice to have someone who is willing to go through the entire process and not jump to conclusions. It's just I have such an issue with modern medicine in general
Oh,
because I went in with a concern one time to my doctor and he's like, "Nah, that doesn't work for you. Like that's just not accurate." Okay, thanks. Like that doesn't feel like you gave it any thought whatsoever, but okay, like now what?
please
And
pass
it's
me back.
right. So having someone, I guess because it's a lot more interactive, literally interactive, where you're sitting there pushing down on certain parts of the body. It does feel more like a team rather than just someone coming in and telling me what to do. So
No,
I
it's
like,
energy work is so fun.
oh, I love it.
And
But
it has to keep me accountable too because I deal with everybody else's stuff. So
yeah.
and that's why I was dying laughing when you keep saying cups. And I'm like, fill your cup, Candace, fill your cup. Stop pouring from an empty cup. Can't do it. So that's what I'm getting from this is
And it's interesting
cool your jets on a little bit because you got to make sure that I have to make sure that I am squared away before I can put my hands on anybody.
so this is a card that just came up. It says you are safe.
Oh, ta-da.
And that literally just was like my next thought of asking you, like, how do you make sure you're grounded and you're in a place where you can provide this service over and over throughout the day and still maintain your energy levels? Like, what do
Okay,
you do? Do you
this is
have
hilarious because I have terrible boundaries. Like, I don't think I have a patient. I mean, I've probably said it twice in this 31 minutes we've been talking of that who hasn't been to my house. I'm like, oh, just come on over. We'll do that. But when I set foot in my office, I have to just ground. I've got frequencies that I listen to. I've got Glenda Emery smudge spray.
Yeah.
I have to keep myself nourished.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not one of those person that says, "Oh, I can't pee because I'm working with somebody right now." Like, I have to physically take care of myself. As much as it's terrible, my phone does stay on me because, well, my little girl's in school, but not only that, but I can't be more than 20 feet away from my glucose monitor
Yeah.
at any time. So if there's moments where I'm like, "All right, guys, grab the phone because if something I'm not feeling off and I don't know if it's you or me, but let me
Right.
check my blood sugar real quick."
Oh, see that I like that comment that you made. I don't know if it's you or me because it feels like I tend to just pick up everyone in the world's energy. Last night, Kyle had a gig and I'm in the middle. It was the American Legion, which is the most mellow bar in the whole wide world. Like it's just a bunch of old people who listen to him play oldies. So it's a very nice, pleasant place to be. But
Me.
right, it's awesome. It's my favorite place to go. But I still leave with like energetic guck on me. I can like feel it, and then going to IHOP afterwards and like, there are just some places that more, I don't wanna say low level, but, like, people who are not just aware of their energy in general tend to hang out, and a chain
Mine's Walmart.
restaurant. What's that?
Mine's Walmart.
Yeah. Oh, I hate going in Walmart. But, like, a chain restaurant in the middle of the night tends to collect people who have been out drinking or, they're bringing their own energetic junk. And so my favorite thing to say is, "I release all energy that belongs to others. I release all energy that belongs to others." And I just sometimes going to sleep will repeat that in my head until I actually fall asleep. And I don't I it's is it being an empath? Yeah, but I think there are some people who are just more inclined to attract and carry that stuff.
So we've been in this new office space about 2.5 years now. And our old office in Sandy Springs was, I mean, lush and green. And like we had our own brick pathway to get to the office. And it was sad that the owners, they decided they wanted substantially more money than it was worth. And so the location that you've been to, when I first walked in, I was like, ew, because it was stark. You walk
Yeah,
in and it's just white. And I was like,
yeah.
ew, where's my I need a window. It's why I have a giant forest picture in my office because I don't have a window and I need to see some green. But so the way I have to see it is when I walk in, I use that as bleach.
Mm,
I say, nope, I'm taking off the old stuff
yeah,
and only giving my patients what they deserve. And then on the way out, okay, we're bleaching again.
yeah,
And because it's not fair to my family to bring this home.
for sure. And I've deal a lot with depression anyways, and there are times where I have to ask, is this mine or is this someone else? It's usually someone in my life who I'm close to, and they're going through a difficult time, and I like, "Sure, I'll take that for you," you know,
Let me fix that.
unwillingly. Yeah.
Yeah.
"Let me
Oh,
carry that heaviness for you."
and we're fixers. Oh, we're fixers. Because
Yeah,
we see the big picture.
yeah, and it doesn't like, I can't do anything with your junk, most people's junk. It's yours to fix on your own. I'll be there to walk with you, but I'm not taking it anymore. I'm at my little desk that I do readings at for all my clients, and I have a grounding mat down below. I'm almost always barefoot in here, but I can't let it like tomorrow, I think I have like 4 or 5 readings, and it'll either drain me or it'll energize me, but also I can't take on everyone's stuff through the day either because otherwise it will affect my family. It will affect the way I interact with people around me, and that's not fair to everyone else. So I love the way that you said that though. Is this mine or is this someone else's?
Here's
So
it's now, but I need a break here.
yeah,
I always offer to check the mail because I get to walk through the parking lot, and so that gives me 5 minutes of outdoor space.
yeah,
I'm like, let me go get something for my car, let me go check the mail, let me do something between patients
yeah, that makes
because I
sense.
just need that kind of recharge.
I completely agree. The other 2 little cards that came up were Dreams and Archangel Michael, which I'm not super familiar with archangels, but
But
I
Michael's
love
for protection, isn't he?
I think so because there's a sword in the picture.
Okay.
It feels like that might be right. It's so funny. I've been on my reading kick lately has all been like, what do they call it? Romantasy. So like romance fantasy stuff. And it's like gods from some other realm and fairies. And it's just, to me, that stuff. is so probable because don't tell me it's not real. We don't have archangels here. Like
Right.
it just don't see them. We don't interact with them. Uh, it reminds me that we are not always aware of what's around us. Dreams, for some reason, this is coming up as more of like really vivid dreams for you. Do you dream very vividly?
Very vividly.
Like to the point where you wonder if it's real or not?
To the point that, okay, and you're probably getting this because last night, like, I was just you ever you think you wake up from a dream and you're still in it?
Yeah.
I was in that cycle over and over
Oh,
and
that's
over.
the
I mean,
word.
like 5 or 6 times
Yeah.
where I was convinced, like, I sat up in bed, I rearranged the blankets. Our fell asleep in our bed, so I made sure, the 4-year-old's not smothering in a pillow,
Yeah.
and I was still in the dream. So, yeah, no, I very, very vividly and I find myself getting stuck a lot.
I subscribe to the idea that when I dream very vividly like that and I have a hard time differentiating between reality and my dreams, that it's astral projection or astral travel. How do you feel about that?
I know other people that do it,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm open to it. I wouldn't know what I was doing. I wouldn't know how to describe that. Like some people say, "Oh, I astral traveled to wherever and we did this and blah blah blah, whatever." And I'm like, "How do you know?"
How do you know?
Like
Yeah.
I've had wonky dreams my entire life. So I'm like, have I been doing this my whole life, or is this
And
just
I
subconscious doing my own
I think
doing
some
my
people
own stuff?
do. Yeah, I think some people do. I think it's some people are just more inclined to be able to mm, interact with other dimensions when they're sleeping. I feel like
And
it's
like,
just
there's a Bluey episode about it that believe it or and there are days like that's what I'll let Amelia go to sleep to because the music's nice.
right.
And but yeah, I'm like I'm sitting there watching, I was like, great. Bingo can astral travel and I can't.
I need to watch that episode.
It's called story time or sleepy
That's
time.
hila
One of them.
that's funny. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that episode. I love Bluey.
I'm so happy we have Bluey in our life. Like somebody, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Sesame Street and Barney and whatever, but we get Bluey.
I think it's great. The show as a whole is pretty decent. I don't mind watching it, like, when the grandkids are over, it's probably one of my more favorite shows that they watch.
That's where we started and where we stayed for like 3 years. So I'm not upset about it one bit.
Let's see what's coming up next in the cards. There's investigate and exploration next to each other, which I feel like I kinda mentioned that a little bit, like, you do in your work, you do this, like, investigation type of assessment, and but I feel like as especially someone with a teaching background, that's probably pretty natural to you to just want to learn more, want to investigate more.
Yeah.
Um, let's see what's coming up for that specifically. Yeah, it's very mental for you. It feels like there's a need to know and understand in order to make sense of emotions that you feel. Does that make sense? Like there's, like okay, what it's showing me is like hearing about something. So like it could be world news or whatever, and having a gut reaction to it and then investigating the how and why or what and being able to back up that reaction.
Oh, I
Is-
have to, things have to make sense for me.
Yeah,
I have to
100%.
know the why. I have to be able to draw the straight line or at least connect the dots.
Right,
And honestly, that's funny. That was, because it was 11 years of infertility before Amelia got here. Right.
right.
That would play with every single part of what a woman is supposed to be doing in her brain. Right.
Mm.
Um, and that's why I was like, look, I consider myself, I mean, sometimes smarter than the average bear.
Right.
Or at least, I've been blessed with a lot of stuff, but I'm like, why can't I figure so that was so no, I have to have answers.
Yeah,
And
I can
sometimes the answer is let it go, but I need to
that's
start and finish.
that yeah. Very rarely do I stop my own, like, exploration into something before I have the answers or before I know. My problem is
That's a rabbit hole for me. I get in
yeah,
trouble.
like but I'll flip-flop between rabbit holes and then come back to stuff. And
Really?
that's just how I am. Do you know what your birth chart looks like?
Not really.
I'm just curious what you have in the
I've
ninth
had
house,
so many
because
people I've had so many people do it because they think it's hilarious because, I'm an identical twin,
right.
and we're 26 minutes apart, and so the differences between and we were super early, and we were almost born in different months, forget and days,
Yeah,
and so everybody loves doing our birth charts because they're like, "We have to this is so fun, we get to tell the difference between twins." And you know what? They've done it for me, and I have not paid one bit of attention to it.
that's funny. Ninth house is all about exploration, like higher learning, travel. It to me, the energy is very like consuming all the information from all sources all the time. And it feels like maybe you have some prominent placements there, but I was just curious. Sixth house is coming up for you more so in the fact that I think sixth house has a lot to do with daily habits and sustainability, and the fact that like what you do today affects the outcome that you'll have in a month, or you what you consume now will affect what your body feels like in a week from now, or there's this idea of like the habitual cycles that go on with sixth house energy.
And I'm
And
a
I
big old creature of habit.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I think like even
I'll still be the most random person on the planet.
I love your Facebook posts because they are so random. It's awesome.
Jen, tomorrow will be 4 weeks with a deer in the backyard.
I I know, but, like, that's not something you can create. That's not
No,
something that you can, like, imagine even and want to post about, like, it just happens to you.
it does, and that's why I do it. Not only because I just find half my life to just be hilarious, but just to let people know that, we have a saying that's we all fall upstairs sometimes.
Ah, I like that. I mean, I do actually fall upstairs often, but yeah,
That's
that
just it.
it's
Can
accurate.
happen to most of us.
In AA, it's rule 62, don't take yourself so damn seriously, and to me, that's, like, the same type of energy, just, like, life is
Don't
just
take it
life.
personally. I'm very much a for agreements.
Yeah,
Don't take it personally.
yeah,
Don't take it. I mean,
you can't. You really can't. Let's see. Nurture and cultivate are coming up as well, which I love the word cultivate. Like, I cultivate my Facebook algorithm. I hide stuff I don't want to see. I follow people that are in alignment with what I want in my life. Social media can be used in a very positive way when we take control of it. If we just follow all kinds of nonsense, it doesn't make sense at all. But also, like, that goes for like the word nurture is reminding me that also we can nurture certain to me it comes up as like energetic frequencies or vibrations in our world around us, like you don't get there overnight. You don't just all of a sudden I want to be happy all the time when maybe you're not a naturally happy person. But you start to move towards it
it's
a
been the
little
last
at a
half a day you see me.
time.
Not a
I
morning person, but I have to get up early because I need 2 hours before I see the rest of humanity. Safer
I
that way.
just yeah. I mean, I just lock myself in my office at work when I get there for the first hour, and then I'll start to creep out and get coffee and everything else. But yeah, like this idea of life doesn't just happen perfectly all the time, or people who are in good moods usually aren't just naturally like that. Like they have to train how they see the world around them.
Absolutely.
Let's see. What
I
else is
can't do doom and gloom.
No, I don't even do scary movies. I
Never
think
have been able to.
yeah, it goes back to
Never.
like the energetic.
Life is scary enough. Why would I invite that into my brain?
I can't, yeah, it's just not my jam. There are some people that like feed off of it, and I
You
just don't I can't do
I
that.
wouldn't be able to sleep or take a shower or eat.
It's not worth it for me.
I still
Um,
could hear what was that song, Total Eclipse of the Heart? Because there was a scary movie in college where that was playing and somebody was in the back seat.
that would do me in.
I will turn it off if I'm driving down the road.
So, what type of things do you put into practice in your everyday life when you're trying, I guess, to like cultivate? the I don't wanna say, like, the life that you want, but I guess that is true, but, like, the frequency that you are looking to stay at, like, does that make sense? That question makes sense. I feel like it's a very
A little bit, but there's like 12 answers for it. So I am huge into prayer. I love my relationship with God. That's how I have to start the day before the feet hit the ground. I haven't watched the news.
Mhm.
I mean, like, I wake up in the morning and when I come downstairs, it's normally long before the sun comes up. Um, and I need to get my head straight before the house wakes up. And I need to be responsible for other lives.
Yeah.
But so I do have devotions. Like I said, I don't watch the news. I read it.
Mm,
I give myself like 5 minutes because I'm not waiting for somebody else to tell me
right.
what's happening in the world. I can look it up for myself. That's the world we live in. I don't need
That's
it in
true.
the background. And I make sure I know what's happening in the world, but I
Yeah.
don't dwell on it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to do anything. I it's, for me, it's God, self, family, community
Mhm.
in that order. And that's just how I have to set my day. Is there are some days that as much as it sounds very callous, that does not affect me.
Right.
But I will put good out there in the world that it rectifies itself. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I like that. I also choose not to watch the news, but I live with someone who devours the news in all forms, and I'm like, "Can we just not right now?"
My husband's first question every day is, "Hey, did you hear about that?" I'm like, "Probably not.
Yep, that's exactly how I respond,
Probably
and
not."
there are times where I'm like, "I can't do this right now. Do you want me to sit next to you? I can go upstairs. Like, if you need to watch this, fine, but I'm gonna remove myself from the room."
Absolutely.
And has started to recognize when I'm in a mental state that I can't handle it.
Right. I'm like,
It's
"That's
just
right."
not worth it to me. To me, it's not any better than those horror movies. It puts you into the same type of vibrational frequency, and it's just not worth it.
That's a really solid line that you just drew.
Yeah, I mean, it's meant to entice fear at a certain point, and I just don't do that. I have enough fear in my life just by myself. Like, I don't
Like,
need more.
I don't why would I invite that into?
Right. I do like what you said about, like, starting the day very intentionally, and one thing I'm trying to get better about is staying off of social media within the first half hour to hour that I'm awake, which is hard, especially because I do a lot of content creation, and I wanna know how I'm performing day to day,
Right.
and
Your interaction is totally different.
well, but I still don't need to bombard my brain with it first thing. Like, there's a time and place for it, and when I am just starting to wake up to the world, that's just it's not useful for me at that point. What I have found, I started to do, like, Wordle first thing in the morning, which is really weird, but I do better because I feel like my common sense hasn't kicked in yet. I am more open to the different possibilities of what the
Well,
words
you're
could
not
be.
gonna overthink things.
Right. But also, it gives me the opportunity to kinda, like, stretch my brain a little bit first thing in the morning, and,
To always do a crossword puzzle every morning. I'm convinced it keeps the axons firing.
yeah.
I'll live longer because of this blasted crossword puzzle.
But I think, like, doing something good for the brain is important first thing in the morning. I'm at a place now where I know, like you mentioned, prayer, that's something that I don't regularly do, but it is something I feel like I need to implement into my life on a regular basis, and I don't know what that looks like for me just because I was raised Catholic and then Christian for a long time after that, and now I do not consider myself Christian, and so what does prayer look like when it's not coming from that perspective? And so I'm trying to sort that out in my own life now and just trying to see.
Maybe just start with gratitude.
Yeah, like, there's different ways of approaching it, and I just don't know what that looks like yet.
Got
Meditating.
stronger when Amelia came around because I wanted to raise her in that type of household.
That makes sense.
So I had to flex my muscles and get those way stronger before I start teaching somebody else.
Well, and it has to be very intentional if you're waking up early before everyone else and making sure it gets done. Like, that's not an accident. You don't just stumble out of bed and pray 2 hours before everyone else wakes up.
Some days I think he wakes me up and says, "You're out of excuses. Let's go. What else you doing?"
But I mean, that's true because I always like to rephrase it of like, it's not that I'm too busy, it's just not a priority. And then I go, "Oof, it's not a priority." Like, that's not who I wanna be, or that's not in alignment with where I wanna be right now.
And that's what I have to do. Is if I
Yeah,
don't make it, it's not going to happen otherwise.
but I like that you specifically mentioned that. Let's see what else is coming up. Where are we at? We're doing
But
pretty
yeah,
good.
whether like my husband sometimes tells me that I just bury my head in the sand. I'm like, am I, or am I just protecting my
Well, and like you said, you read the news, so it's still there and available. You're just doing it on your own terms. And I think that's important too.
can't handle the ambush?
Because that's how it feels sometimes. I have my phone on do not disturb 99% of the time, 99.9% of the time of my life. I have it set so that my kids and Kyle can reach me. I have it another setting so that certain friends or my sponsees in AA or my sponsor can reach me. But very rarely do I have it wide open so that I receive all sorts of notifications from people because not everyone needs to have access to me like that, and I do feel ambushed. Like, I used to keep my ex-husband on mute on my phone, and when I saw the message, I would reply when I was in the right state of mind. I wouldn't open it right away. I would wait until I was ready, and I think that's the same kind of concept that you have or that you've mentioned with the news. Like, it has to be on my terms because if I'm not emotionally in a state where I can accept what's what I'm reading, then it's not gonna go well,
Right.
you
And
know?
there could be, because and I've struggled with addiction and stuff like that. At the time, there could be a trigger where you're like, okay, that's it. I've had enough,
Right.
and
Yeah.
so this will protect my sanity at all costs.
Yes.
But
Yes.
no, I my method of people can't get in touch with me because I have family all over the globe. Many are deployed at any given point in time. So
Right.
that whole do not disturb just doesn't work. But I tell my patients, I'm like, if I'm not available, I won't answer. But if I'm available, knock yourself out. If
Yeah.
it's a real emergency, go to the ER. But I said, but here's the deal. I said, I need you to log into Facebook. If you see a little green dot next to my name, that means I'm awake and you can ask me questions. If not, I'm racked out like a champ, leave me alone. Girl goes to sleep, okay?
Right.
And I forgot to log out one day and had a patient, call me at, like, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
It was not a medical emergency, it was a medical concern, but it took me a while to figure out, "Who is this? What are you talking about?" And hold on, we gotta back up a little bit. But yeah, that whole statement didn't actually work in that situation. I was like, "Well, you did exactly what I told you to do, so."
Right. I think boundaries are important anyways, regardless of whether it's family, friends, clients. Because I have a lot of clients that I do readings for that will text me random questions all the time. And it's hard. I want to be there and I want to answer all the questions, but sometimes it can be a very lengthy conversation. And at what point am I just working for free? And
That's exactly it.
it's hard. It's hard to keep that boundary. I've gotten better in the last like 4 years or so in doing that. Oh, we can set up a reading or we can set up a coaching call or, like kind of redirect. And I'm just such an introvert. Like I have to protect my energy. I can't just be wide open, available for everyone. It just doesn't work for me.
I love being wide open and available for everyone because it's a big ego push for me. I'm like,
Mm,
"Oh, I know the answer. People are looking for me. I'm the subject matter expert at this point," right? Like, I love it, but then I'm complaining at the end of the day. I was like, "Nobody talked to me.
right,
I'm done." And so, my family gets the worst of me,
right. And that's not fair to
um,
them.
and that's not fair. So now that, when I went back to work after maternity leave, I did only come back half time. So I am, if somebody needs to come to the house, yeah, sure, just come on in. But, you know, because I made myself available for so long and then took it away.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I feel like I owe people that, which I don't.
You don't.
I don't.
Absolutely not.
You wouldn't do that to your dentist. You wouldn't do that to your gynecologist.
I know. I know.
So some of these are
Well
monsters I've created.
well, and Kyle is like, he has this totally, opposite perspective I do. He's a salesperson, and so if someone reaches out on Thanksgiving and is ready to buy a piano now, he's not gonna turn them away and say, "Oh, come back tomorrow," because they're gonna find someone else that
That's
they can
right.
buy that from. And there have been plenty of holidays where he's working or literally selling a piano over the phone. I'm like, "Who buys stuff on Christmas Day?" But okay. Like, yeah, it's just crazy.
Well, and I feel
Mm.
so bad because I tell people, I'm like, there's not too many of me in Atlanta. There's maybe 7 or 8 of us.
Yeah,
And because there's just not that many in the planet. But I'm like, why would I be concerned that they'd go somewhere else? No, because we all work together and we all trust each other. And
yeah,
honestly, that next practitioner would probably call me and say, "Hey, can you send me their file so I know what's happening?" And I'd say, "Sure."
yeah.
So yeah, no, those boundaries, man.
It's important, but, it's tough to learn sometimes. And I feel like it's, very fluid too. Like, sometimes I'll have more strict boundaries than other days.
I'm like, "Oh, we closed the office for 2 weeks over Christmas. Yeah, I'll come in then too. Yeah, I'll come in.
I
I'll probably
know.
be with wife in these 2 weeks."
The last few cards I pulled were the Knight of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and the Page of Wands, and they just happened to all come out together. Wands are very, like, physical labor energy, how we move forward with certain ideas. So, like, there were a lot of cups, which is all emotion. There's a lot of swords in your reading, which is all mental. But then you get this physical push of energy after the fact. Like we talked about how you like to have the knowledge to back up the emotion. And I think those two need to be in place for you before you move forward with any type of physical action. Where there are a lot of people who tend to be more physically motivated first and then consider the repercussions. That doesn't feel like you.
Very stereotypical.
But also, I think, do you get caught up in the details before you move forward with the action towards something?
That's a 50-50 shot. I'll see the grandiose and then think back on it going, "Oh, right, I should have done that first."
Yeah.
But if it's somebody else that needs to make a decision, I'll lay out all the background that they
Yeah.
need. I will walk them through it step by step because it's not my time, it's not my money, it's not my whatever. I can tell you how to do something, but I've already flipped a switch back here. So
Right. I think that also there are just certain people who see the big picture easier for others than they do for themselves. I know I tend to be that person,
absolutely.
and I
I've
hate
I've
it.
already I've already fixed your problems.
Like, can you just get on with the show? Like, do what I said.
Why are we land the plane? Why are we circling?
It's a little frustrating, but yeah, I do experience that pretty often. Um, let's see. Are there any we didn't really touch on the business, didn't really come up. It was more of just like a very meandering. I love that word meander, but it's a very meandering reading. There's not a whole lot that really like stood out.
Well, because and I'm this actually has nothing to do with you. I love going to readings because there's certain things that I'm just not seeking.
Yeah.
And maybe it's turning a blind eye, maybe it's burying my head in the sand, but I'm like, I want somebody else's clarity on what's happening. I want to
Yeah.
see what somebody else sees, and I love it. But
I mean, was
um,
there anything that was I don't think there's anything that was like surprising that came up. It doesn't really happen sometimes. And
that's
I
the cool part about being this old is you know yourself and you're like, well, she nailed that whether you liked it or not.
yeah, it's definitely, that self-awareness at a certain point. I like to think that I'm pretty lucky to be self-aware. There's a lot of people who stumble through
Thought
life.
nobody's home.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm a little jealous of them, because
That's bigger, right? Do you find yourself, because I really do, and I have to take a step back. Do you find yourself having a hard time being around people who are not as self-aware?
100%. Yeah. And there's a certain point in my life where small talk just wasn't fun anymore.
I
Like,
stopped going to football games. Yeah.
yeah, well, and that's I used to love sports. I used to love, just like random conversations with people out and about. Like, I just can't do that either of those anymore. Sports I'll watch, but I can't follow it anymore. Like, it just doesn't, and it's not what my brain is interested in these days. But people who are not self-aware, there's a quote I saw last night. I've seen it many times before, but last night most recently. You can't, what is it? You can't speak butterfly language with caterpillars.
They're just not there yet.
Yeah, it's like two different languages, two different worlds. I just don't have anything in common with people who are not working on themselves these days.
1000%.
And it's not that they're right or wrong or I'm right or wrong. It's just I don't have anything in common with them.
I constantly tell myself, meet people where they're at.
Yeah,
And if they're not there and you're not there, you don't have to do either.
no. And it's hard, like still having a full-time job out in the real world, the muggle world. It's hard because there are conversations that come up that, I still wanna be involved and social at work, but I might not relate to it all.
Right. Yeah, I
And
know.
I mentioned that before, like, I've mentioned it on the podcast before, like, I can't come into work and be like, "Well, I did 3 past life regressions this weekend." They were a doozy. Like, no one's gonna get it.
See, I
But
can't, and that's half the fun. I'm a little spoiled in that perspective. I was like, if anybody needs me, I'm gonna go meditate for like 10 minutes, just go away.
yeah, that's not something everyone can do at
Like, not
work.
every I'm like, somebody leave me alone. I need to be quiet for a second.
I have to go ground. Hold on, wait for me.
Right. Like, why are your flip flops sitting on there? Because, well, I didn't wear shoes in the building because I just wanted to be in barefoot. So, yeah, no. I have a very privileged position at that point
Yeah.
where I'd say, leave me alone. I need to go walk out. I need 5 minutes of sunshine.
Do you ever feel like there are some some, like, woo-woo stereotypes that you just can't deny fit? You know what I mean? Like, tree hugger, woo-woo, spiritual, like, there are some that I want to deny, and I just can't deny them.
So, I get to be a mad scientist. I tease about being a witch doctor. I don't love that. But yeah, no, there's just, I need to go put my feet in the dirt for 5 minutes, go away.
Yeah.
Or, Candace, why are you squinting? I said, because I need full face sun. I can't wear my sunglasses right now. But I'd rather sit out here and squint and stare at things and blind myself. Oh yeah, I know. I feed into the stereotype, but then I also have my yuppie world,
Yeah. I feel like
and
I cross over pretty well into
the suburban housewife, and I still I have to be both, and so we do our retreats twice a year. Well, I just go scream in the woods for 3 days. But it works like a proper Southern belle. But
Yeah. Well, is there anything else in the reading that you had questions about or comments on?
no, I think you nailed a lot of things that I need to be a little more like detail oriented and pay more attention to detail because that's not where I've done when it comes to me. Like I said, other people I've already fixed your problem.
Right.
But when it comes to me, I don't want to put the work in to do I'll do the legal stuff, but that's really about it.
That's
Um,
interesting. A lot of people would probably shy away from that more than
oh,
than
I have to protect my assets
yeah.
because we've already talked about a level of comfortability, and I need to make sure I don't mess that up.
Yeah.
So,
No, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. One question I've been trying to ask at the end of all of the sessions is, What would you tell 20-year-old you advice-wise?
My knee-jerk reaction is just don't do it. But that's what got me to where I am today.
Yeah.
There were certain decisions that I made that while they blew up in my face, they introduced me to some of my favorite people on the planet
Mm.
and quite literally threw me in front of my husband. 20-year-old Chan. I was just a I was such a bonehead. I would love to just say don't do it. No, I have one. It would be never start smoking
Okay.
because that happened longer than I am ever, ever, ever proud of. It's been out of the mix for a long time now, but that was a really stupid thing for my personal health journey. And I think there's some repercussions that I'm still paying the price for.
I feel like nicotine, like we mentioned the sugar addiction, but I feel like nicotine is another one of those that is incredibly difficult to break.
It's too habitual. No, thankfully, it's so cool that I mean, this could be just my life, but nobody smokes anymore.
It's starting to get to that point.
Like when I like somebody will be outside of the grocery store and I hit pick a whiff of it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna throw up. I never thought I'd be that person. But yeah, no, it was like I said, we that was decades.
Yeah.
And looking back on that, I'm like, be happy you drank a lot of water because your skin could look a lot worse, but it's not looking
But also, like, we grew up in the age where we were still asked smoking or non-smoking when we went into a restaurant.
I worked at those restaurants.
Right. Like, that was just the world we were introduced to. But I do think that our generation is one of the last that is perpetuating that habit.
I'd say so because you just turned 45, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that was, it was just so very prevalent. Mm, Now it's just not like I said, it's not cool anymore. And I'm really okay with that.
I
And
still don't
hopefully
like
Maria will never have to deal with that.
the idea of vaping still doesn't sit right with me, but I it is what it is. People wanna choose that. There's always gonna be something people choose.
Absolutely. So the older I get, I'm just like, look, I've given up this vice and this vice and this vice.
Yeah.
If I want to go put baby oil on myself and get sun for 30 minutes, I don't want to hear a word.
Right. Yeah.
The drugs, the alcohol, the smoking, the everything, just totally I'm out of vices. So y'all give me my sunshine. I don't care.
There's not a single thing in this world that's totally safe. There are risks everywhere, and if there's a little bit of enjoyment in something or a little bit of benefit in something, then maybe it's okay. You're getting
Or
vitamin
if it
D
keeps
that
you
way.
away from something more dangerous.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's my problem with sugar right now is like, "Oh, well, at least I'm not drinking." Okay, yeah, but it's still like, too much of something is still not okay, you know?
When I
So,
when I quit drinking, the caffeine addiction, I mean, it was like I had to go on blood pressure medicine.
yeah.
It was I was like, okay. So
I've recently cut out energy drinks for that reason.
on our boundary.
Yeah, I was probably consuming close to, like, 400 milligrams of caffeine a day and wondering why I was always so anxious, like,
Right. Yeah, no,
it
it's not for
doesn't make
general
sense.
anxiety type.
I've also found that I'm not as irritable when I'm not drinking as much caffeine. I'll have, like, a cup of coffee in the morning, and that's about it. I do indulge in, like Coke Zero is my new favorite thing, but it's still
It's
not a
super
ton of
low
caffeine.
to aspartame, so
Right.
from a
So
neurotoxin and depression standpoint, it's a better choice for you.
right, and that's yeah, like, if I'm really, weighing the options, it's still better than an energy drink with a bunch of crap in it and, high sugar and everything else, so I'm slowly getting back to where I remember I went totally caffeine free for a few years, and that was the most grounded and stable I ever felt in my life.
I'm
Um
down to about 2 cups of coffee a day, but not a day, excuse me, a week. Oh my gosh. Uh, but this holiday schedule, I'm like, I don't know if it's raining or Tuesday. So
It's been crazy. Monday's gonna be rough for me going back to work.
My cup of coffee in the morning lets me know that, "Hey, this is what time of day it is."
Right? So true.
80/20, do what you're supposed to do 80% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the only way to stay sane through all of this. Navigating health in my 40s has been way different than, like, any of the other decades. It's been so different.
Thank God.
Ah, alright. Well, thank you so much. I don't wanna take up too much more of your time,
This
but
is the joy. I appreciate you, Jen.
yeah, I am loving all of these one-on-one conversations I'm getting to have with people just because I don't leave my house very often. I don't get to have them elsewhere. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Fate 40 and Beyond. I'll link my websites and businesses below as well as Candace's. Subscribe, like, I don't know. I always get the little updates from like Spotify or YouTube. You have 30 followers. And I'm like, I do? People
Yeah,
are
boy.
enjoying this. It's been a fun journey so far. But thank you so much for joining us. And I look forward to doing more of these. Hopefully we can have you on again. It'll be awesome.
Woo-hoo.